How's it going, guys? This week in Destiny, the Deep Stone Crypt is going to be our weekly raid in the weekly raid rotator, and some people may be wondering why that's important. Well, this past season, DSC got a little update where their weapons are now craftable with new roles, and some of these roles are absolutely wild. So, what I'm going to be doing today is giving you what I'm going to call a raid refresher. Now, I'm not going to tell you every little teeny tiny detail that you're going to need if this is like your first run. However, if it is, you're going to get enough information to be like, hey, I know how to do this, I just need such and such an explanation a little more. This is more or less for people who have run it but haven't ran it in a long time. So with that, quick word from our sponsor, and we're going to get right into this video. Now, when you load into this raid, you're going to jump down and defeat a bunch of Fallen. They're really not that hard. Just get rid of them. The door is going to open, hop on your Sparrow, and drive through to the opening part, which is just going to be like a Sparrow part, Sparrow race type thing. What you have to do here is bring your Sparrow, or if you're doing the challenge, the pikes, through each one of the heat bubbles so you don't die. While you are out of these heat bubbles, you're going to get a debuff called Frostbite. And once that hits times 10, you just die. You go back to the next bubble, you restart. Now, I'm not going to show you the full path because, quite frankly, I'm still very bad at this part. I've done Deep Stone a bunch of times and I still just play follow the leader. But there's one thing that you can do to help yourself along this part is along the path there are little like light posts, slant posts. If you follow those 9 times out of 10, you're going the right way. You're going to get to the next heat bubble. You're going to get rid of your frostbite stacks and you can keep going after that. Another cool thing is if you're at the end, or if a friendly is at the end and you're still back at the beginning, they can use teleporters to jump back, pick you up, and then, show you the right way to go. When you get to the last bubble, you're going to have to fight a bunch of Briggs, and there is a secret chest here. I'm going to show you where the secret chest is because those are very important because extra loot is always nice. Turn around, and then on the left-hand side, there's going to be a little rock for you to jump up. You jump up around this little, like, canyon-esque thing, and there's your chest. Drop down, and then we can go on our Sparrows until we get to the first encounter, which is security. When you get into security, there are a few things you have to take note of. First things first is that the room is split into two. There is the light side and the dark side, indicated by the amount of lighting on each side of the room. Very easy to understand. The second thing you're going to have to make note of is in the center of both of these rooms, there are these cylindrical, whatever you want to call them. That's where you're going to do DPS. Now, when doing DPS or making the callouts, what you're going to do is look at it straight on, and it's going to be left, middle, and right. Now, if you struggle with your rights and your lefts, hold up your hands. The one that makes an L is your left hand. That is your left thing you're going to shoot. Now, to get to the point of DPS, we have to do the mechanics of this encounter, which include these operator and scanner buffs that we're going to use throughout this entire raid. What the operator does is the operator allows you to shoot these panels you see throughout the raid, and what the scanner does is it allows you to see things that others cannot, and they'll glow this bright yellow, and it's going to be very easy to tell which one is which. Now, for this particular encounter, the operator is going to go downstairs and await the call out from the scanner. What the scanner is going to do is pick up his buff on the dark side and begin looking through the windows to scan these particular panels. Now, these panels are numbered 1 through 5 on the dark side and the light side. It's going to be easier for you to just be like, hey, which one's 1, which one's 5, and somebody hopefully will be able to count them out for you. If you raid with me or anybody in my group, we'll just count them for you. It's very simple. So what's going to happen is the scanner is going to see which ones to shoot, tell the operator shoot them, and then the scanner is going to send the buff over to the light side. Now, while this is going on, there are going to be servitors that spawn that are going to prevent usage of the terminal. Kill those servitors, and then you can obviously now pass the buffs back and forth. So, once the dark side has been called, let's say it's a 1 in 5, the operator is going to shoot the first and the 5th panel, while the scanner on the light side calls out which panels are his. So his are 2 and 3, the operator is going to go over shoot 2 and 3. Now, what's going to happen is DPS is going to start, but the only person that can see which one is DPSable is going to be the person with the scanner buff. However, the operator, who is already downstairs, is now going to have to get that scanner buff. So the operator uses the terminal, sends the buff back up, someone picks it up, scanners comes down, and then downstairs on the wall, or not really the wall, the pillar in the center, there is going to be the glowing nodes. That is how you can tell left, right, or middle, dark side, or light side. Now, you're going to do DPS as the now new scanner is going to call it. DPS will finish, and what we do is the person who's comes downstairs, the scanner is going to scan the panels, relay that information, operator is going to come downstairs, relieve them, repeat the process until you're done with this particular encounter. Now, I recommend using Xenophage or Wardcliffe Coil because it makes very quick work of these conduit fuses, whatever you want to call them. Once that's done, we can now move on to the Atrax encounter. Now, for the Atrax encounter, there is a few things you have to keep note of. First off, this encounter is also split into two, upstairs and downstairs. Secondly, it's the same buffs as before with just a little extra stuff for this particular encounter to work. Now, how we normally run it is 4 upstairs, 2 downstairs. You can run it 3 and 3, it doesn't really matter. So what's going to happen is Atrax has now split herself into 8 copies, 4 upstairs and 4 downstairs. So what's going to happen is 3 people are going to go upstairs, clear ads, while the person downstairs who's going to be operator is going to wait for the operator buff. They're going to get said buff and then go upstairs. When you go upstairs as operator, please turn around and shoot the panels to send elevators down so people can come up and down as they freely need to. Now, what's going to happen are there are going to be servitors that spawn. Destroy all 3 servitors on the bottom, and then while you're upstairs, destroy the left and middle servitor and leave the right servitor alive until your operator can come upstairs. So what's going to happen is now the person upstairs is going to pick up the scanner buff that is going to spawn with the servitors. What the scanner buff allows you to do here is it allows you to see which Atrax you need to do DPS to make her go away and drop one of her replication datas. The operator's job upstairs is to simply going to be opening the vacuum sealed chambers out into space and shooting the buffs off of people's heads. So what's going to happen is the scanner is going to call out, hey, left, right, space or pods, space being the farthest one, pods being the closest one. You're going to go over, you're going to do damage to that Atrax clone. That Atrax clone is going to drop replication data. Then the scanner is going to send the buff downstairs and they're going to do the same thing. Hey, either top left, bottom left, middle or right. Do damage, drop the buff, go upstairs. Because upstairs is the only way you can get rid of these replication data. What's going to happen is the operator is going to again shoot open that particular vacuum sealed door. The person with the Atrax buff is going to go inside. The operator is going to shoot it off. The person's going to walk out and then that replication data is going to be sucked out into space. You're going to do this until you get into Final Stand. When Final Stand happens is all of the Atrax clones and your players are now going to go upstairs. The scanner is going to call out which one it is. You're going to do damage to it. Repeat the process until you're done. I believe you have 3 chances to do this. Normally, we just have someone with Thunder Crash and Caress of the Falling Star as scanner for final because then they just one-shot the last stand and it is over. For this particular encounter, I highly recommend using Lament, any kind of good DPS sword you have, and of course, like I mentioned before, Thunder Crash. Once you get your loot from this encounter, you're then going to go out to do the spacewalk where everybody needs to be quiet and just listen to the beautiful Deep Stone lullaby. Here, there's going to be another secret chest just along the path. You literally cannot miss it. And once that's done, we are moving on to the Descent encounter. Now, for the Descent, Lovely Tanix has decided to arm the onboard nukes. Now, don't ask me why a space station has onboard nukes, but he plans on blowing up Europa. For this encounter, we are introduced to the final of the 3 buffs, which is Suppressor. Suppressor in this encounter is simply going to stand under these drones. There's one on the left catwalk, up on the right little, like, I don't know what you would call that, ledge, I guess, and then one right in the middle. Scanner is going to move left to right, right to left, whatever, stand under these drones and shoot him. If you stick him with Wither Horde, it'll still work. However, Wither Horde has been nerfed in the time that it stays stuck, so just keep that in mind. When it's time to deposit bombs, the scanner is going to suppress Tanix so that we can now deposit them. To get bombs to spawn, the operator is simply going to shoot a glowing panel above one of said openings where the bombs will then come out of, and scanner is going to tell us where to deposit said bomb, whether that be in the L1 R2. 1s are the ones closest to the scanner, 2s are the ones closest to Tanix. Very simple to get figured out. This encounter is literally just that. You repeat the process 6 times. Now what's going to happen is after every deposit, someone's going to get deactivated, throw your buff in a terminal, someone else is going to grab it, and you just repeat the process 6 times until you've deposited 6 bombs. Once you deposit 6 bombs, the floor is going to open and you're just going to run along the path while the space station crashes down to Earth, and now we can go fight Tanix the Abomination. Now, for Tanix, we're going to do this 4-bomb style, which also happens to be the encounter challenge for this encounter. The bomb deposits are numbered 1 through 6. Starting from where you spawn, the first one to your left is 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in order going around. There's also the 3 buffs. There is Suppressor, Operator, and Scanner. Suppressor is literally going to do the same exact thing from the last encounter. Stand under the drones and suppress Tanix. the operator is now going to have to shoot this like dome that's going to come down on top of you to free you while running with bombs, and Scanner does absolutely nothing here. When this process begins, Tanix is going to move to one of the 3 areas in this particular part, whether that be orange, blue, or home. Home is where you spawn, blue is on the left, and orange is right in front of you. What this signifies are where you have to deposit said bombs. When he goes to a spot, he's going to open up his little hovercraft legs, whatever you want to call them. You're going to have to shoot the bombs out of them, all 4 of them, and the people who have been designated to pick up bombs are going to go to their designated bomb drop locations, whether that be lows or highs, so lowest ones are the highest ones. If he goes to orange, 5 and 6, which would normally be high, is no longer high, 3 and 4 is. The high people are going to 3 and 4, low people are going to 1 and 2. It can be a little confusing at times, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it. While you have the bombs, again, that dome is going to come down, the operator is going to have to shoot it, and while this is going on, the suppressor is going to have to suppress Tanix, so this way we can deposit said bombs one more time. If you're going to die when your radiation gets to times 10, let somebody know, and usually the operator will run over, pick up the bomb, and continue it the rest of the way for you. Now, once Tanix has been suppressed and all 4 bombs have been deposited, someone's going to probably get deactivated. You're going to pick up the scanner buff, even though it's useless, just in case you get deactivated as scanner. Before DPS starts, throw your buff in the terminal to pick it up when DPS is over. Now, for DPS, what's going to happen is he's going to come back into the middle and he's going to make a ring of debris around him. Don't get caught in the debris, either whether that be in front or behind you, because it will kill you. Do DPS to Tanix until you get to Final Stand. Now, obviously, if you don't have enough DPS, you're going to have to redo the mechanics, but he's really not that tanky. Either way, once you've done DPS to him, Final Stand happens. In Final Stand, he just roams around the map. You have 4 chances to finish Final Stand. Once you finish Final Stand, this raid is now over, and you can go collect your loot and buy your free red frame for the week. Now, I know this is the first time I've done anything with a raid, so of course it's not perfect. I'm still figuring out the best way to do this particular thing. I've done DSC plenty of times. I have the title, so I know what's going on here. It's just very hard to put it into words sometimes. But that is that. With DSC being the raid rotator this week, you can also do all of the challenges and get red frames for each one of the challenges you do. So it might actually be easier just to farm Tanix all week long until you get all your red frames. If he drops different red frames, I don't know if the red frames are going to be specific drops for specific encounters, but you can still farm Tanix to get whatever red frame he's going to drop, or if he does drop different red frames, just farm Tanix. Tanix is an easy boss to farm. So with that is my raid refresher for Deep Stone Crypt, and I hope it is going to help people this week get their DSCs done, get their red frames, and get them being able to craft these DSC weapons, because again, like I said, they're so good. So with that, check out the links in the description, like, comment, and subscribe, as those all help me so very much, and I hope everybody has a good week.